everybody, Steve from 3D Universe here, and I'm here to show you our latest utility. And this one is the WalkDesigner. So this is created for Genesis 9, and you'll see right now I have a Genesis 9 figure loaded in my scene. There is no animation attached to the figure at all. So I'm going to select it and run the WalkDesigner, and you'll see immediately you get a standard walk being previewed in the main screen. So this is the WalkDesigner itself. The little app runs on the side here. You can move this app around to wherever you want it. It is not part of Daz Studio itself, so it cannot be actually docked. But the nice thing is it does, if you have your saved settings, it does remember where it last was. So if I was to close it and open it again, you'll see it's in the same position. So let's go through the interface. First of all, you'll notice up in the top animation section, animation settings section, you'll notice we have a walk animation frames. And this is simply the number of frames that your walk animation is going to be created over, and you will notice that the animation loops perfectly at the end and starts back at the beginning. So at the moment our total animation is 48 frames, so that would be frame 0 to 47, and then it loops back to 0 again. You can simply click there to change it. We've got a couple of options. We've got 36, 32, 28, 24, 20, 16, and 12. You'll notice the lower you go, the faster the preview happens, and that's pretty much because of the frame rate. At the moment I have the animation set to 30 frames per second. I'm going to use the 48 frames just because it's nicer, smoother, as we carry on going through the options here. So next in our little animation settings area, we have the live preview. The live preview you'll see is set currently on current view. If I was to go out of there and get a very specific view in mind and run it, that's the view that you're seeing. That's the current view. You can drop that down and get a perspective view. What that's going to do is it's going to give you the 3/4 view from the side, but it's also going to zoom it out and center your figure in the middle of your preview window, just as if you had clicked this little frame button over here. We've got a couple of other options. We have a front view, we have a back view, we have a left view, and a right view. And obviously all of those views are kind of handy to see certain parameters. For now I'm going to leave it on the perspective view. The next option we have in our animation settings here is the preview playback. Now you'll see automatically it's already previewing. The preview playback is simply you can stop and start at any point. That's pretty much all it's doing there. And finally we've got the clear animation here, and that was if you wanted to for some reason clear the entire animation and have the figure without an animation. You will notice that when I clear the animation, it's almost also removed all presets and hand styles and set all of these other options to their default values. The next option we have here, I'm just going to quickly get him walking again. The next option we have is the floor offset, and that is basically on the y-axis, positive being up, negative being down, and that's measured in centimeters. If we go on to the left view so you can see it a little bit better, that just basically means that if your floor plane or wherever you want in your animation to take place is slightly higher than the 0 ground plane, you just would put in your offset there, and the feet are now walking at 20 centimeters above the floor plane. You can just click on that to reset it back to normal. Okay, so that's it with the animation settings. you will then see the walk style settings. We've got quite a few options here. First of all, we have the walk preset. And what the walk preset does is it gives us a whole lot of options, which will basically change all of the individual parameters that we have here at the bottom. So by walk default, you'll see all of the parameters are basically sitting on the default values. Some of these options will go from 0 to 10, and then some of the options you'll notice the default is 0, and that's because it can be done negative or positive, and that's normally from -10 to +10. So I'm just going to go through a couple of the walk presets so that you can see what those do. The walk default is the one that's loaded by default when you open up the interface. Okay, so if we go for the confident, you'll see what it's done is it's added a bit of a sort of arm swing, a bit of a forearm swing. It's also changed the hand style to fist. You've got a bit of a hip swing happening there. You've got a bit more of a head bob, chest sway. The hips forward back has also been adjusted, bit of a torso sway, and the shoulder height. So you'll see by just loading that preset, it's actually changed quite a few parameters compared to the walk default. And the next one we have is walk angry, and that is just what it is. It's an angry walk. You'll see he stamps his legs, he lifts his legs a little bit higher, just to give that bit of the stamping look. Okay, and the next option we have is the walk sexy. That adds a bit of a sway to the hips. If I go to the front view, you'll see the hips have a bit of a S pattern to them, and overall the figure is leaning back slightly. The stride length has been reduced a little bit as well, so the figure doesn't walk quite as far with each step, and the arm swing has also been reduced. We've got the walk zombie, and you'll see that's brought the arms in front. It's not actually swinging the arms. The arms are just in front. There's no forearm swing at all, and there's very little arm swing. Hands have become claw-shaped, and the entire figure is bent forward. Then we have the walk march. Nice upright walk. He's leaning backwards slightly. Arms are swinging up nice and high. You can see the forearm swing has been basically turned off. His head and neck have been pushed backwards a little bit. He's got a bit of a torso twist going on as well, and his shoulders have also been increased in height. The other option we have here is an old person. You can see the stride length is quite a little bit reduced, and he's bent over just to look a little bit older. So if I go back to just the walk default, I can show you with the hands. By default, the hands are positioned like that. That's your Genesis 9 default position. But we've got the relaxed hands, which just adds a little bit of realism. We've got the hands fist, and we've got the hands claw. And you'll see all of those are changed automatically when you go to the preset. Now you can obviously use one of the presets, but you can actually create your own walk completely. Or you can load up one of the presets and just adjust it slightly. So I'll just go through some of the parameters and what they do. Arms down, if I just go to a front view for you, the arms down is basically the lifting of the arms. So you'll see we can switch it so that the arms are a lot higher, not down by the sides anymore. And obviously, depending on the character type, you can put the arms up and down. Just going to reset that. The arm swing is easier to see from the left hand side. You'll see if I turn the arm swing off, the arms from the shoulder don't swing at all, and if I push them all the way, then they swing to their maximum amount. Forearm swing is basically the bottom part. So if I turn off the arm swing, you'll see the forearm swing can also be turned off so that the forearms don't swing at all, or it can be pushed up so that they do. And obviously with a combination of the upper arm swing, you can get quite a nice swing going with those arms. Just reset those back to their normal. Arms forward will basically just shift the arms forward and backwards. So you'll see if they go backwards, the arms stay sort of almost behind the figure. And if they go forwards, you can go right the way so that the arms are right up in front. And that's kind of one of the options with the zombie. That's sort of how I was getting the zombie look. I was just turning that off and turning down the arm swing. So that's what those options are for. The hip swing, another view would be better for this. So the hip swing is basically the, if you draw a line through the hips, as you adjust the hip swing, you'll see it sways from side to side and it rotates a bit on the Z-axis. So that just adds a bit of a sexy swagger to the hips. Works nicely for the feminine characters. A leg spread is the side to side movement of the thighs. So if I was to have it at that position, kind of walking a bit like a cowboy, and you can bring the legs very close together. You can actually have them completely going over each other. That obviously wouldn't be ideal. Legs lift, I'm going to go onto a left-hand view for that. The legs lift is basically how high the leg lifts with each of the steps. So you'll see if I put it all the way to the top, the legs lift almost to 90 degrees with each of the walks. That's nice for a sort of stamping motion. Then our stride length is the distance that each step takes going forward. So if I move it all the way down to the bottom, you will see they're basically almost shuffling in place. If I take it all the way to the top, you'll see the figure is taking very long strides now, which also affects the body itself. The body will bounce up and down because of the legs. And that's just another note that I want to just make on the feet. Basically, the entire animation always makes sure that the feet are in contact with the ground. So you'll see as I change that, it's going to make an adjustment and make sure that those feet stay on the ground. But if I move like that, you'll see he's above the ground, and then the moment the animation kicks in, it's now worked out where his feet need to actually be to keep them in contact with the ground. Head bob is a fairly simple one. It's just his head bobs as he walks. That can be, by default, he's got a little bit of a bob going, but it can be accentuated quite a bit. And it can also be turned off completely, so his head remains completely motionless. Head forward backwards will basically shift the neck and the head forward or backwards. And obviously that can be added into your walk animation to get different effects. I used that, for example, with the march, just to give a very upright head and neck look. Okay, torso twist is basically the top part of his torso here will twist left and right. You see at the moment he's got a bit of a twist as he walks. If I turn it off completely, that twist is gone, so he no longer rotates along the y-axis as he walks. And if I go all the way there, that accentuates it even more. The chest sway, I'm just going to switch to a front view. The chest sway is basically the top section here. Will shift left and right as he walks. You'll see at the moment he's got a bit of a sway. If I turn it off, you can see the figure stays more upright, and if I turn it all the way up, you can see he's got a little bit of a swagger going to the top part of his body. That can also be accentuated with the torso sway, which I'll get back to now. Next one, hip forward and backwards. I'm just going to change the view to the left again. It's easier to see. And the hip forward backwards basically just pushes the hips forward or backwards, which actually results in the torso falling backwards or leaning forwards as he walks. You'll see it. It also keeps the head in the same rotation, so that the head is still upright, isn't bent over or anything. Okay, so torso sway was the other one I was talking about just now. I'm just going to go back to the front view. So torso sway, similar to the chest sway, instead of happening from the top here, it's happening from the bottom, and the torso sway is basically just above his hips. So once again, you can get a bit of a swagger going, and especially if you use the torso sway and the chest sway together, you can get quite a crazy swagger move going. They obviously work a lot better if you bring the values down a little bit. The torso sway can be negative, and then you end up having this crazy, rather unrealistic sway motion, but it can always also be added to your walk style. And then finally, we've got shoulder height, and that's basically the height of the shoulders over the body. If I push it up, the shoulders go up, and if I push it down, the shoulders go down. You'll see when I reach the extremes, it affects the arms, and that's just the way joints work. When you reach the maximum height, it affects the arms, but you could always use the arm adjuster here to move the arms down again. And that's pretty much it. The one other thing just to note is if you've made a change, for example, let me say I've made that change and I kind of like the way that looks. If I do exit, obviously your animation is still there, and if I go back in, it's going to remember all of the settings and just load them all up again, as long as you have your save settings on here. If you turn the save settings off there and exit, you'll see when I load up again, it's forgotten the position of the window, and it's also, everything has gone back to default. So it's worth keeping that save settings on, just to not have to redo something or lose a walk that you kind of liked. All of the animation data is only applied to the parts of the body that are actually affected. It doesn't change the shape or anything. If you have a custom character or something loaded that has different scaling or different limb lengths, the foot height is still going to be calculated correctly, regardless of what shape is on your character. So I hope that gives you a good idea of what the WalkDesign is about, and I hope it's a product that you can definitely use. Bye!